Today's show, we will break down the Cowboys' needs entering the offseason. Now, these are positional needs. So, yes, you might want the new owner or new head coach or a real GM. You can't get that right now. This is positional needs, heavily factoring in who is a free agent. If the season began today, what are your biggest needs? We'll break that down. But first, if you think I would do a better job as Cowboys general manager, then like the video. I would not hire a head coach based on they were too physically intimidating. Like, allegedly, teams didn't want Mike Vrabel. I know, right? I would never do that. If you think I would do a better job as GM, then like the video right now. Number one need for me as we sit here in February is running back. The reason being, your top two guys are free agents. That's Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle. Neither guy under contract for the upcoming season. So if the year ended right now, your backfield would be Deuce Vaughn, or the year began right now, would be Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, Malik Davis, and Snoop Connor. That is the worst running back room in football. So this is not based on how you should invest in the positions or what you should take in round one, but right now, you don't have an RB1 and you don't have an RB2. So because of that, running back, incredibly high up on this list. Number two is cornerback. Maybe not the two most typically mentioned needs for this organization, but again, think about what you have under contract at this stage. Trayvon Diggs, coming back from a torn ACL. Should be good to go for week one, but worth mentioning. Deron Bland played awesome this past year. There are two starters. Who's your third? Is it Nashawn Wright? Eric Scott? Is it backup Israel Mukuamu? It's not Josh Butler. You play three corners the vast majority of the time in the modern day NFL. That's how the modern day game works. Stephon Gilmore and Jordan Lewis are free agents. Keep one of those guys, and this need goes from 2 to like number 7 or 8. But because of how much you need a third corner, and frankly, a fourth corner, given your run of injuries in recent years, you have to invest in the spot. You need more than Diggs, Bland, and a bunch of disappointing-ish draft picks behind them. So as we sit right now, again, in February, what is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason? Is it a spot I didn't mention? I think it'll change come draft time, but what is it right now? It's the pinned comment on this video. You should know what that means. It means the ad might come here on YouTube. If so, let the ad play, ignore it, and go vote at the pinned comment instead. Number 3 is center. And number 3 and number 4, as you'll see in a minute, 3A, 3B, I would call it. Your number 1 center is a free agent. Do I think you could survive with one of Brock Hoffman or TJ Bass competing for those roles? Sure, you've got some team control under those guys as well, but I don't love those options necessarily. I think Bass might be better at guard. Maybe you give him some more time to train at center, and it could work out for you. But I could also say Hoffman or Bass, you want them at right guard, or maybe as left guard option. And that brings us to the number 4 need. Left side offensive line, i.e. figure out what you do with the Smiths. Tyron Smith is a free agent. I would love to bring him back. Cheap 1-year incentive-based deal. Let's do it. I'm in. Tyler Smith can then stay at left guard, or if Tyron retires or whatever, I need to find one new starter there. I could maybe make it TJ Bass. I could give Austin Richards a chance. It's not going to be Josh Ball. Earl Bostic is a developmental piece. Adoga's a free agent. I think, at least one more left side player and a center in some capacity. I would feel slightly more comfortable if the plan was Tyler Smith, Bass / Richards, Biotish, or draft pick or whatever at center, then it would be, Tyler Smith, keep Biotish and put Hoffman in there at center and draft pick at left guard or left tackle. I think I'd rather invest more in the center. That's why it's just above the left side of lineman, but both are very big needs and could be how you address your right or your first round pick. So where would you play Tyler Smith? Decision doesn't have to be made until the draft, by the way. Left tackle is LT. Left guard is LG. Go vote in the comments. Number 5 is a linebacker, and this will probably be a big need come draft time as well. In theory, DeMarvion Overshown is back and healthy. I almost asterisk him here because it's the ACL tear. We've seen guys have a slower return to form. I'll keep Marquise Bell on this list. He'll also be on our safety depth chart. I think it might make the most sense to put him back at safety. That's just my opinion. Damone Clark, I was pretty disappointed by. Maybe you put him back at weak side linebacker. Things look different. Leighton Vander Esch, I don't know if he's going to play again. That neck injury is kind of a big red flag. Buddy Johnson is a practice squad caliber player. I've got buts on my top 4 guys, or ifs involved there. I don't like that. So yeah, linebacker's a need for this team. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You're not battling thousands of other players. There's no pros and sharks and sharps, etc. It's just more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Get them right and win. That's it. You don't have to finish the top 5% to win anything. Nope, you just got to beat the numbers. What I love to do is the flex play. Now, it is a lower return. I'm not maximizing out on the return, but I can still get a pick wrong and not lose. So my flex play for the Super Bowl is this. Christian McCaffrey, more than 18.5 carries. I think they're going to run the ball a lot in that game. We've seen it time and time again from Shanahan. He wants to run the ball with McCaffrey and not overfeed Purdy. Travis Kelce, more than 7.5 receiving yards. He's going to be targeted a lot. It's Kelce. That's going to be the game plan. Let's get him involved. Duh. And I think Rashee Rice, less than catches he has to battle Cowboys legend Charvarius Ward as the Niners' #1 corner. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That link and the promo code will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Cowboys need number 6 is defensive tackle. 6 and 7, by the way. Tightly compacted for me. Big note, Hankins is a free agent. That's your best run stopper. We'll talk about Mozzie Smith in a second here. I like Osa Odigizua. He has been a good first half player, not as good second half of the season player. Still don't have my impact defensive tackle yet. I like John Singleton. He's fine. But he's kind of like he's a rotation piece. He's not like a high-impact player. You know, Neville Gallimore is a free agent. So Osa, Golston, and Smith doesn't really fill the need for me a defensive tackle the way it needs to. Speaking of filling, you need to get Mozzie Smith's weight back up. Taking a nose guard and having him play under 300, whosever fault it was, still don't know whose fault it was, is a mistake. That was stupid of this team. Doesn't make any sense. So we're going to make Mozzie Smith fat again. MMFA. Spam it for me in the comments section because making Mozzie fat again has replaced Fatties Only as the 2024 defensive tackle campaign here on the Cowboys Report. Number 7, defensive end. You do have some notable free agents here. Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler. Micah Parsons, I'm sure, will still play plenty of pass regardless of who your defensive coordinator is and his game plan. Tank Lawrence, back for now, but he's getting older. Junior Fayoko was a Dan Quinn pick. How does that play out now? Sam Williams has talent. Is he going to keep his head on straight? I don't know. Darrell Johnson, Tyler Sweet don't move the needle for me. So you've got enough to survive for now, but adding another impact piece, I would not be upset, or even just adding depth as well. Number 8 is wide receiver. For now, everyone's actually under contract. I don't think you should bring back Michael Gallup. I think cutting Gallup just makes sense. He has not been the same since his injury. He hasn't been. He's been a shell of himself. He's gotten worse 3 years in a row now. Can't have it. $9.5 million savings if you cut him after June 1st. More receiver combo to come. But what would you do with Michael Gallup this offseason? K for keep him or C for cut him? Sound off in the comment section right now. Without Gallup, in theory, it's Lamb, Cooks, Tolbert, Turpin, Jalen Brooks, and guys like David Durden and Martavis Bryant and Racey McMath, Jalen Cropper, and yeah, I would like to find either A, a better high-end impact receiver 3, invest a little bit. Like, if you fill your needs in free agency and you get to the second round, it's like, wow, this awesome receiver fell to us, then you can take him. Or if you want to take another day 3 pick at receiver, sure, third round pick, sign a veteran, all makes sense. I don't think you should be satisfied with this core. Number 9 is safety. And we'll see how the new defensive coordinator changes things in the back end. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson are under contract. There are 2 starters. I do like the big nickel usage. I think it makes sense. I think it got over-deployed improperly at times by Dan Quinn because they were really in big dime with Marquise Bell in there. And maybe Bell goes back to safety. I'm not going to bring back Jaron Kearse. I'm down to give Juanyeh Thomas some more playing time. I think you're fine at safety, but kind of like receiver, if you can find an impact piece, don't let your current core stand in the way of adding help. Finally, long snapper. Yeah, Trent Sigg's a free agent. There's no one else on the roster who does it. Again, the goal of a long snapper, mention when you are signed, mention when you make the roster, and never mention again, because if we're talking about you, you did a bad job. So I think a simple re-signing will happen here. Cheap 1-year deal, little guaranteed money, cut at roster time to make room for the 53-man shuffling, and then is the full-time long snapper. I think that's what happened. I'd be surprised if Sigg wasn't back this upcoming year.